Okay, I can't wait for this. This is our friend, Boxer and Gerson guest line, our buddy Rob Parker, but I'm already worried about him. Not because the Niners are going to crash the Lions season on Sunday. Not because of that. I know
that's why I'm worried.
Yeah, but he's used to that. I bet he can handle that. I just went to go kind of set things up and see what you've been talking about on Twitter of late, and it appears, did you leave? Did one of the biggest opinionists I know get somehow worked off of Twitter? Where are you on there, Rob?
Yes, I got hacked. I got hacked. So now I'm at Rob Parker. MLB Bro is my new
MLB Bro.
MLB Bro, because you need to know. Remember that.
Is the bro part of the MLB, or is there a second B in there, Rob?
It's a second B.
Yep,
MLB,
gotcha.
and then BRO.
Oh, I see you.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, gosh, you've got you had a bajillion followers, and now you don't. What the hell?
You got 1,200 followers, Rob? Come on.
You know what? It's what happens, and you know this. Every day you're deluged with fake emails and things that they want you to click on. You know what I mean? And if you tilt your head the wrong way and you're not paying attention, and all the stuff looks legit, and they got me. I mean, I've been on Twitter for a long time, and I can't. And now they don't have anybody there to work to get your account back. You know what I mean? They don't have any workers. So these guys are hacking people. And you can't get your account back because there are no workers.
Yeah, gosh, it's a damn shame. But I'm glad.
Story.
Yeah, glad you let us know where you are. And obviously, we listen. Rob Parker, Fox Sports Radio, The Odd Couple, alongside Chris Broussard. Although you told me that today you're in Detroit, you do know that the game is not there, right, Rob?
Right, I know. As you know, though, Mark, I own a barbershop in Detroit for 21 years.
Whoop.
And just taking care of some business, a little quick business trip, and I own a house out here too. But I'll tell you this, there is no more confetti to be sold in Detroit. They've been throwing it all year. People here are so jacked about the Lions. My God.
Yeah, are you letting Lions fans know to wear a funereal color coming out here? Because you know how this goes for you and your Lions people, right, Rob?
No, hey, I understand. Hey, you know what? If they're coming to hostile territory, you got to be careful, because you can't go out there doing that. But I understand why people have gone off the deep end. When you came into the season with one playoff win since 1957, you know what I mean? And you win two of them, and granted, both of them were at home, you're going to lose yourself, and that's where Lions fans are right now.
So, Rob, with all of that said, you talk about that energy. This is one point I've been making about this game. The Lions' 2 games have been at home, and they've really fed off of that idea of, we haven't been here doing this in 30 years. They don't get that dynamic in the building on Sunday. How do you think that affects things?
Yeah, it will definitely be different. It's different to go on the road and try to win a big game in this spot. I mean, I know a lot of people are hedging their bets. I hate when people say, don't be surprised if. That doesn't mean anything. You're not making a prediction. You know what I mean? You're kind of covering your ass. I can sit here and tell you the Lions are going to win. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that they're going to go to San Francisco and beat the 49ers, because if they do, there will be hell to pay for the 49ers, that they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and they let a team that hasn't won a road playoff game since 1957 come into their building and beat them. If it happens, it will be one of the biggest upsets I've ever seen.
Rob, what do you think of Brock Purdy?
I think Brock Purdy is not Joe Montana. I hate people keep saying that. I think that he's a good quarterback, but I think the narrative that people have is, well, if he was somebody else who was drafted in the first round, people would be ranting and raving about him and this, that, and the other thing. I think that's a lazy analysis of Brock Purdy from this standpoint, because we saw a quarterback who who wasn't even drafted. Forget about being Mr. Irrelevant. Who was that with the Rams?
Kurt Warner.
Thank you. Was not even drafted, had all the weapons around him, correct, with that Rams offense, and nobody blinked an eye. He was MVP. People automatically bought in because they saw something. And I get it. Like, the 49ers went to the Super Bowl without Brock Purdy. And people are like, well, he's got all these pieces, all this stuff. I still think the jury's out as to really how good he is. And here's a break moment for him, because if he has a stinker, this is going to be bad for Brock Purdy.
Okay, but I think you've also brought up something that is why this is confusing. You say people saw something in Kurt Warner. What was seen in Kurt Warner that's not seen in Brock Purdy?
Kurt Warner threw for over 50 touchdowns in that season.
Yep.
He was spectacular. I don't think that nobody could look at that guy and go, he wasn't even drafted. Oh, he's not. You know what I mean? Like who could say that for a guy with those 50 touchdowns his first season? I just think that he was so good that you couldn't deny him. And then there were moments in Brock Purdy's season, the 3-game losing streak, the biggest game of the year on Christmas night. You know, he choked it down, 4 picks. That was, everybody was watching. People had not seen Brock Purdy all year round, all year, Christmas night, sitting there watching, going, oh, this is the guy? Okay.
Yet he still led the league in yards per attempt and quarterback rating. His quarterback rating was top 15 all-time for a single season, yet you want to drill down on one game that you happen to see in prime time as greater than the other 16, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely, yes, because there comes moments, and let me say this. That was Brock Purdy's moment in that he could have shut up everybody and actually won the MVP if he played well against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And if he would have done that, it would have changed the way people looked at him, and that guy would be winning the MVP. Instead, that was the night that Lamar captured the MVP, and it might alter Brock Purdy's career forever. I know that's hyperbole, but that moment may never come back. If that moment got away from him and this moment gets away from him, Brock Purdy may never be in that spot where A, he could win an MVP, or B, go to a Super Bowl. That's how big it was.
Okay, and I'll buy that, but we also do this as, I think, the nature of the beast, especially when a team is favored. Boy, if it doesn't go well tomorrow, then, fill in the blank. What if it does? Rob Parker, Fox Sports Radio, joining us. So,
if he gets to the Super Bowl, it'll still come down to what did he do in the Super Bowl, because the 49ers have already been to the Super Bowl. It's not like they haven't been there for 20 years and Brock Purdy led them. Then you have a different narrative. They've been there a couple years ago, and they lost. And the reason, and they felt like the quarterback wasn't good enough. And if Brock Purdy gets them to the Super Bowl and doesn't play well, people will wonder, well, can he really get us over the top? And it's an unfair narrative. I get it. But I believe that that's the narrative that he has. People won't buy into Brock Purdy until he wins the Super Bowl.
Where do you think that narrative comes from? Because I hear the same narrative about Josh Allen, and he's never made it to the Super Bowl, and we all think that Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback, yet he can't even make it in the playoffs. So, Rob, where do you think this narrative comes from about Brock Purdy versus, the level of success that his team has had while he's been quarterback?
I just think that it also has to do that when Josh Allen got good, that Buffalo turned into a team that was in contention. They were 13 seconds away from going to the Super Bowl, and Josh Allen, played outstanding in that game on the road. I mean, there are certain circumstances that people look at. Justin Herbert, I think he took a step back this past year. A lot of fourth quarter picks. I don't look at him. I know people love his size and his arm strength, and he's a prototypical quarterback that they love to look at, but he hasn't played up to that potential. And now he's got a coach who could probably help him get there because his coach was so bad. So I think it's things like that make the difference. in where you come in. If Brock Purdy came into the 49ers and they were bad for 8 years and he was doing what he's doing now, I think people would look at it differently.
Rob, what's your take on the Dan Campbell versus Kyle Shanahan coaching matchup?
I think there's a chance that Dan Campbell could wind up blowing the game because he's a risk taker. He makes some bad calls to me, that things that, going forward in his own end and all kinds of things that, so far hasn't come back to bite him. I've seen him in a few games during his tenure in Detroit where he cost his team some games. Shanahan, just for him, what was the stat that just happened when they won in the fourth quarter? He was 0-30 or something when trailing by 7 points or whatever. What was it?
Yeah, 5 or more. He was 0-31.
I've lost track because there's like 8 variations of it.
Sure.
But the bottom line is he hadn't won a game where he was trailing in the fourth quarter, and now he has. There's one.
Right. So Shanahan, he has 3 of probably the worst fourth quarters or ends of games in football history. You know that, where his teams have been shut out, and the ending of the Atlanta Super Bowl with the Patriots. They were in field goal range, 1st and 10 at the 22, run the ball 3 times, run the clock down, kick a field goal, you're up by 11, and Tom Brady can't beat you. That one he lost. And then a couple others, they had the Chiefs down by 10. Instead of running the ball like they were doing all game, they decided to throw the ball and give it back to the Chiefs. That cost them another one. So I think until he can get rid of those bugaboos and win a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, people will always question him too.
So you pin the Atlanta loss when he was a coordinator on him, even though he was
absolutely.
So he's the coordinator, and he gets his team to a 28-3 lead, and the defense doesn't get a stop. And as the coordinator, you're going to put that on Kyle Shanahan, Rob?
Yes.
Okay.
1st and 10 at the 22. Okay? 1st and 10 at the 22. Why are you throwing the football? Go back and watch the tape. They're snapping with time remaining on the play clock. None of it made any sense. You're already in field goal range. You get a holding. You get a sack. You're out of field goal range. It's the dumbest football calls I've ever seen. I'm not a coach, not even pretending to be one. I'm watching that first guess as this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Rob Parker, Fox Sports Radio, with us here, Willard and Dibs. Rob, with a long history in Detroit. Our listeners may not know your history of coming up with the nickname Stat Padford that you used to give to Matt Stafford for years when he was quarterbacking. I'd love your opinion on Jared Goff and what you see in him in that position.
Yeah, it's a big moment for Jared Goff, too, obviously. They ran him out of L.A. and didn't think that he was the weak link on that Rams team, and they wound up winning the Super Bowl without him. So he has something to prove. And if he wets the bed on Sunday, then people might say, see, this is Jared Goff. This is who he is. He's had a good year and a good run with the Lions, you know what I mean, to make the team a lot better. But it still comes down to he wasn't able to win the big game. And you remember that team, they were averaging 35 points a game, and I think they got one 89-yard field goal in that Super Bowl.
Rob, are they all being nice to you out there? I got to imagine this Lions are going to get beat thing is probably not resonating very well out there.
They hate me out here.
Okay.
But that was my whole 20 years here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you know me, I'm not rah-rah home team. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'll never forget they asked me to do when the Tigers played the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series, and they asked for my opinion at the top of the news, local news, and I said I picked the Cardinals. And the anchors almost fell off their chairs. And, of course, the Cardinals beat the Tigers, of course. Right?
Yes, they did. As the Giants did years later, too, Rob.
That's right.
Yeah, we have a history of taking care of things when we battle Detroit.
Okay, I have one question for you. I know you guys got to go.
Yeah.
If they choke this down, how big would this be as far as the choke Richter scale?
If the 49ers lose Sunday?
On the Choker scale?
Yeah, give me the scale is what? Like a 1 to 10?
1 to 10, 10 being the highest.
I mean, It's a 9.5.
It's a 7, Rob.
It's a 9.5. It's a 9.5. Rob, this fan base has thought that it's going to win the bowl the whole year. And the only thing that has given it pause is what happened on Christmas, but that's got nothing to do with the Lions and the NFC.
Right. Yeah. No, I expect the 49ers and the Ravens. I'm not bragging. It's called proof of performance. I picked Lamar to be the MVP before the season, and I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
You sticking with that?
I'm sticking with it.
All right.
And which Twitter account did that come from? Because I got to put my fact checkers on that, Rob.
That was on the radio show. I'll get you the audio.
Yeah, send me the clip, and I'm sure it was on your burner account, Rob. We know.
That's right.
Yeah,
No doubt.
All right, Rob, let's text Monday because we might have something for you if you think the Ravens are going to win.
All right, let's do it.
All right,
guys.
All right, thanks, brother.
Thanks, Rob.
Stay well.